and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Next!
Excellent.
What?
Mooga ooga. Sorry. Couldn't help that. About halfway through hour 2. And Nick Thorson join me here in just a momento to talk some fantasy football. Who did what? Why'd they do it? What the heck were they thinking? I couldn't help it. And speaking of Thor, he's with me right now. Mr. Thorson, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay.
How has your week started off so far?
Starting off good. How about yours?
Not too bad. Can't complain. It's always sunny here in the CG, Cottage Grove, Minnesota. We call it the CG, just kind of like Ohio State.
Yep.
The Ohio State. Yeah, the CG.
All right, where you want to start?
Oh, well, I would definitely like to start with my zeros and heroes list.
All right.
It was
studs and duds.
It was an exciting yet heartbreaking day in fantasy football. But I've got a list of my heroes and zeros, studs and duds, however you like.
So let's get to them.
Let's get right into it and jump right on it there. I'll start with my studs list. I'm going to start with my studs list. How about Kenyon Drake?
How about Kenyon Drake?
On 15 attempts, 110 yards with a touchdown, and then added 4 catches at 52 yards, which totaled 28 fantasy points against one of the top defenses in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's seen that coming. I certainly didn't. I know you were probably sitting at the edge of the old lazy boy at home with a towel, kind of sweating it out a little bit.
I tell you what, my wife went out of the room and came back, I want to say about a half hour later, and she looked at the score, looked at me, and she says, "This got really close really quick." I said, "Yeah, it did." And it frightened me. But Kenyon Drake had a great performance in his first game with the Cardinals. But that 49er offense executed when they needed to, and that final drive put them away.
I agree. I definitely agree on that one. Going into in one of my leagues, actually dropped Kyler Murray and picked up Jimmy GQ, Mr. Jimmy Handsome himself. I started him. I was definitely reaped the rewards on that one. I liked that play. I felt a lot more comfortable with that play looking at Kyler Murray's numbers over the last couple of weeks. He totaled me up a nice 28, little over 28 points. So, but then at first I seen Kyler Murray was sitting at not even 2 points. I thought, wow, okay, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Finished the night with 23 fantasy points. A lot of things happened that night in regards to that. It was a lot of it was the playing from behind, and he had to throw at will, and that and Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake is going to be a powerful weapon for the Cardinals. Very powerful.
I think so. I agree. Another thing, David Johnson being due back next week. I'm very curious to see how Kingsbury works that backfield and distribute. Going to turn into a committee now. that's definitely, I have Kenyon Drake and David Johnson on one team, so it's definitely one storyline I'll be following throughout the week going into week 10. Next up, we've got Manny Sanders, the new 49er acquisition. I mean, post 7 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown, 24 points. Another stud of the week. Not sure how many folks in the league started him this week.
I bet you not many did. I bet you not many did, for the reason that he's just getting to the team. He's just getting started. He was a steal, not just for the 49ers, but for anybody that's playing fantasy football. He was a steal for them.
Yes, he was. Coming into this year's draft, Manny Sanders, they actually they didn't really speak very highly of him. He was kind of still coming off of the MCL from the previous year. Nobody knew, in camp over the summer, he was practicing and he wasn't, and then he felt great and then he didn't. And
right.
He was definitely a tough one to read coming into the fantasy drafts. That's for sure. And I've got how about that Seattle game?
How about it?
I mean, if you're an owner of Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson, they signed, sealed, and delivered you a W on a silver platter just with those two guys. I'd say
easy.
Tyler Lockett, he's on my studs list for the week, my heroes list. 13 catches, 152 yards, and not one but 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. 2 big touchdowns.
2 big TDs, and then you've got look at Russell Wilson. If he does not he is definitely MVP candidate status. Just doing it week in, week out. I'd say fantasy, I'd rank him up there as a fantasy candidate for fantasy MVP for the 1920s, right along with this next gentleman, Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, Mr. McCaffrey. I've been high on him since his Stanford. Yesterday, he delivered a fantastic performance for the Carolina Panthers.
Yes, he did on 24 attempts, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches, 20 yards, and another receiving touchdown. Insane.
It is insane.
The one, did you see that run where he just literally right up the middle,
burst
right
up
down Broadway?
Yep, and that basically sealed the game for the Carolina Panthers. That was a win that they needed, and they needed that bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's another one. He's going to go number one. He's definitely number one overall pick, hands down in my book right now. It'll be between him and I say it's going to be between him and Dalvin Cook in next August. Fantasy football drafts for 20. That by far. I mean, I got hit. I got hit by that the CMC Music Factory, and I wasn't too happy. I was that guy standing on the train track, waving my hand, and I knew it was coming. I seen it coming. I got hit. Yeah, not good.
You did not. Oh, come on! You did not fall for that.
Got hit by the CMC Music Factory train.
Oh, gracious! Nick Thorson joining me. Nick Thorson joining me to talk some fantasy football. You got hit by the CMC Music Factory?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I just want to throw in one of the leagues. Yeah, that particular matchup. I would definitely want to put week 9 in the rear view and just kind of look on to week 10.
All right, we have the studs. Now, who are some duds? I think I have a couple of ideas, but I'm going to let you list them.
Well, let's start with the mustache sensation himself, Gardner Minshew.
I knew it.
He left his. So they travel across the pond to square off with a division rival, Houston Texans. But he left his arm down in Duval County.
He did.
I mean, it was a poor display of offense by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rolling up against a J.J. Wattless Houston Texans.
And Deshaun Watson cut the Jaguars to shreds. He cut them to shreds.
Yes, he did. Single-handedly.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, he's another guy who will definitely be up for fantasy MVP this year as well.
And NFL MVP the way that he's playing.
And league MVP. Yes, that's for sure. I agree on that one. You've got the mustache sensation. All he can muster up is 309 yards, threw a couple of picks, and lost a couple of fumbles lost.
Bad turnovers. Yeah,
they were bad. And Marone said going into week 10, coming off the ball, he's not going to announce his starter for week 11 until next weekend.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, and there's some folks who are actually riding on the coattails of Gardner Minshew right now. So is he going to play? Are you going to have to go out quarterback for week 10, week 11? We won't know until we get further closer to actual week 10. That's not good to be hanging in that balance.
No, it's not.
No, definitely not.
It's not.
I've got a few more duds on my list who were big weeks, just couldn't cut the mustard, not even with a butter knife. Has anybody seen Stephon Diggs? Has anybody seen him?
I haven't.
I mean, he comes off
2 weeks in a row. I haven't seen him.
But then this week against you can pass on that KC defense. But that game, I dialed in on that game for a while yesterday, and I don't know what kind of play calling the Vikes were trying to mix up with, and I mean, there was an Amir Abdullah sighting yesterday. When's the last time you heard his name called? Amir Abdullah. That helped nobody.
Abdullah. Oh my gosh.
The Delvin Cook owners are probably thinking, "What happened?" they're thinking, "Where's Delvin?" I mean, he had an okay day, but not a regular Delvin Cook day. He was the talk of the week, that he was poised to have another big week against that Forest Kansas City defense. You've got Stephon Diggs who on Ford had one catch for 4 yards. He added 12 rushing yards, but that's about it.
Next on the list, please.
Aaron Jones.
No.
Aaron Jones. 8 rushes for 30 yards and a catch for -1. Another guy who let fantasy owners down yesterday. Actually, Jamal Williams was the workhorse out of that backfield yesterday. That whole Green Bay offense as a whole looked pretty off. Aaron Rodgers actually came out and said, "Well, that's a slice of humble pie." Okay, well, let's see how the offense moves going forward. They looked, the Chargers defense has been pretty irrelevant for the last 4 or 5 weeks. But then you'd think, okay, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams is back.
Anything.
No, they couldn't move the ball. They did not move the ball.
They did not do anything.
Nope, it was a snore fest. It was a definite snore fest of a game. If you were a Green Bay Packer fan watching that.
And I said earlier in the show that if you needed a reason for Aaron Rodgers to have a chip on his shoulder, he's going to have one on his shoulder next week.
Next week, yes, especially coming off of a loss against the Los Angeles Chargers like that, and how they lost in the fashion that they lost. He's definitely going to be throwing the ball a lot next week.
Yeah, just to prove a point. Just to basically prove the point where he's saying, quote, I am Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
Well, he should be calling all of his fantasy owners, making a lot of phone calls and just letting them know, hey, relax. Relax. Hopefully the Aaron Jones owners, they can get a rebound from him on the outing as well.
Absolutely.
I've got another gentleman on my duds list who was set a big week, but just, I don't know. This was another guy whose face is on the side of him. Has anybody seen Robbie Anderson? Where is Robbie Anderson? I thought he was, I had him poised against that porous Miami defense to come out and have a big game.
I got a better question. Has anybody seen the New York Jets against that porous Miami defense?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I mean, look at Sam Darnold. Was he seeing ghosts out there again down in Miami?
He must have.
He looked terrible. I mean, he was hooking up with Jamison Crowder quite often, who finished a little over 22 fantasy points against that terrible defense. And then he's got his other favorite target, Ryan Griffin, the tight end. But you've got Robbie Anderson over there, Mr. Play stretch the field guy, and they just couldn't do it.
They don't use him
underneath.
They don't use him. If you're gonna have that kind of guy on your team, why don't you use him? That's been the problem with the Jets for a while. They get all these guys that they make big plays for, Le'Veon Bell, hello, and they do nothing with them.
They do not. Adam Gase, I don't know, the Jets faithful. I don't know. I don't think they're Adam Gase fans.
I don't think they are either. And what's scary is that they're going to be stuck with Adam Gase for a while. They won't do the right. These are the Jets we're talking about, number one. And I apologize to my friend Charles Waller, and I know he both teams. But let's just call a spade a spade. They're not going to do the right thing and fire him and actually go out and find a good coach. Mike McCarthy wanted to coach that team, and they didn't even look at him.
No. I think McCarthy, in my opinion, I think he would have been a better fit than Adam Gase. Adam Gase, he was over the years great OC.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't cut it as a head coach, and that's the thing in the league. That's like some guys can evolve from a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and move on up into a head coach role, and they can fit the mold just fine. But there's some guys who just need to stay as
coordinators,
ECs, as coordinators. That's their role. They're better there than they are sitting at the top of the helm and directing everybody. It's just known fact. I mean,
it is.
We've seen it over the years throughout the league and through multiple coordinators who try to move on and take on that head coach role.
Oh boy, studs and duds for this week with Nick Thorson talking fantasy football. you do your fantasy football, be it FanDuel or DraftKings, get your information here first. I may have to bring you on for a preview for this coming week, especially with the huge game that's coming Monday night in Santa Clara with the Hawks and the 49ers. We will work that out. Another great edition of Thor's Fantasy Chant here on Snowman in the Morning. It's a pleasure to have you on. I thank you.
Pleasure to be on, sir. Pleasure to be on, as always.
All right, we will talk later this week. Thank you, man.
Sounds good, sir. Peace, love, and fantasy.
And that is going to put a nice big red bow on this edition of Snowman in the Morning. I want to thank you all for joining me. Remember, you can tweet the show at any time at SIT Morning. And I know I had a couple other segments left, but we're going to move those to tomorrow and get everything situated, especially after the Giants beat the Cowboys tonight. Hey, a guy can dream, can't he? Till tomorrow, have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do